Hi, I'm Rick Fenwick. If you're watching this now, then you've probably clicked the hyperlink to my electronic resume, or I may have sent you this videotape via email. Please understand that while this is listed as an instructional video, its primary function right now is to demonstrate my approach and my organization in conveying different concepts in percussion, and today in the context of drum set. So while it is a demo video, if you see something here that you'd like to share with your student, then by all means you're welcome to do so. Thank you. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 1. Hi, I'm Rick Fenwick, and welcome to my video instructional on drum set. Today we're going to talk about basic rock drum pattern. And the pattern is basically divided into three different parts: the hi-hat, the snare drum, and the bass drum part. We're going to isolate, we're going to practice, and we're going to perfect each individual part. Then we're going to pair them together in different combinations, and then eventually we're going to put all of these parts together to create that one basic rock pattern. We're going to start on the hi-hat. And the hi-hat is the busiest, but it's also the simplest. It's the simplest because we play all of those syllables in our counting pattern. We're going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to play with my right hand crossed over my left in what we call cross grip. So here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, so we just finished the hi-hat, and what we're going to do now, we're going to move on to the snare drum. The snare drum is going to be playing on beats or counts 2 and 4. Those are what we refer to as the back beats, and that's really what gives a rock pattern regardless of how busy the bass drum or anything else might be, whatever the hands are doing. The 2 and 4, the back beats on the snare drum, are really what define the rock sound. So those are going to be, again, on beats 2 and 4. I'm going to continue to say the syllables, all of them, out loud, and I'm going to play the snare drum part as I say the entire count. Again, the metronome is set on 60, and I'm going to play with my left hand crossed under my right in still what we call that cross grip. So here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. If the snare drum played what we call back beats, then the bass drum is going to play what we refer to as, well, the strong beats. We can think of them as the front beats too, because they happen at the front, the beginning, and in the middle of our measure of our 4 counts. So they're referred to as the strong beats, beats 1 and 3. So here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and going to pair them up with each other little by little until we arrive at the entire pattern. Let's just add a couple together at a time. So since the hi-hat is playing all of those syllables together, we'll just go ahead and play the hi-hat and couple it with the snare drum first. The hi-hat's going to be playing all of those syllables. The snare drum is only going to be playing the counts 2 and 4. Those are what the hi-hat and the snare drum are going to have in common. So while I'm playing, I'm going to pay attention to making them sound at exactly the same time. I'm going to be watching to make sure that the sticks come up together to prepare to come down together on beats 2 and 4 as we play. I'm going to be listening to ensure that I'm hearing that one sound of the snare drum and the hi-hat happening together. And I'm also going to be feeling in my hands the sensation, the vibration of the sticks as they reach impact on these surfaces. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to couple the hi-hat, stay with the hi-hat, and we'll play the bass drum part with the hi-hat now. So instead of having beats 2 and 4 in common with each other, I'm going to have beats 1 and 3 in common with the hi-hat and the bass drum as we play. So again, I'm going to be looking, listening, and feeling, and of course using my metronome as we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. The only other combination of 2 that we haven't done yet is the bass drum and the snare drum. So these two, since the bass drum's playing on 1 by itself, then the snare drum's playing on 2 by itself, bass drum on 3 alone again, and the snare drum on 4 alone by itself, they don't share any beats in common. So I'm going to continue to count all of the syllables 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and as we did on the previous 2 examples, just to make sure that the bass drum beats, the counts are remaining steady, and I'm not having a tendency to rush the individual parts played together as we go. So I'm also going to use my metronome, of course, to help me keep track of that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So now it's time to put all 3 parts together. And the astonishing thing here is that we've actually already done that. We've played the bass drum part on 1 and 3, of course, the snare drum part with the left hand on 2 and 4, of course, and the hi-hat part, while we didn't play it with our right hand, we covered that part by speaking all of those syllables out loud. Every syllable that we would have played on the hi-hat, we were saying out loud and thinking as we were playing it. So therefore, we did cover all 3 of those parts together at the same time. And this is the really, the confidence boosting part of our lesson, is that if you can say it and think it, then you can play it. So being able to cover all those parts together, saying the hi-hat part out loud as we played the bass drum and snare drum, is proof already that you can actually play this part. All we're going to do is the same thing that we did in the last pairing of two parts, the bass drum and the snare drum, and counting out loud. And we're also just going to apply what we're saying out loud to playing out loud on the hi-hat with the right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, as I'm playing this, I'm also observing the way that I did before when I was working the individual part. I'm watching the sticks and the bass drum finger. I'm listening to make sure that they're all coming down at the same time in alignment with each other, and I'm feeling the impact of the sticks on the surface of the hi-hat and the snare drum, as well as the impact, the vibration of what I'm feeling in my right foot from the bass drum finger as it hits the bass drum head. So it's important to watch, to look, listen, and feel again. And I'm continuing to do that.